Alrighty, we are back here after that small commercial break. As if you missed game number 1, you might be a bit surprised by the score of game number 1. Going the way of Hanwha Life Esports on the backs of their composition, we would say here on the English desk. I think they won the draft pretty hard. SANDBOX was not able to play to their win condition, and Hanwha Life just showed up like another one of these great teams in the LCK.
Yeah, Hanwha Life definitely came out big with an upset in game number 1, and a lot of that was on the back of, like, you just mentioned. I don't know why that happens. I'm so sorry.
Huh?
My throat gets all caught up.
You're good.
It's really strange.
You're
all right.
a little bit choked up after that game.
I was just so emotional.
You're so proud of Hanwha Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really was.
Good to see.
I could really feel the life.
The passion is
exactly invigorating. And we'll see if they can find themselves with a similar kind of draft advantage here in game number 2. They're going to need a similar discrepancy, I feel, in order to have that kind of an edge. Although SANDBOX didn't really look like a team last game, which was very interesting.
Yeah. Kind of a little bit disjointed, right? A bit out of focus. Maybe, they get these picks that you have to dominate lanes with, and then they just kind of go relatively even and then get outscaled. It wasn't very inspiring League of Legends, is what I would say. And it's never too much fun to watch. So Hanwha Life, definitely the better team in that one, but another chance here. Again, this is why we play best of threes.
Yeah.
It's why Gen Z was able to come back against Kingzone yesterday to give them another chance. And we're still favoring SANDBOX as long as they can continue, or not continue, but rather change up and better their draft at least.
Yeah. Irelia, Jace, Lux, and Aatrox are banned away so far. See what the final ban for SANDBOX is going to be. It looks like it's going to be the Sejuani, putting it away from Bono. And with Jace having been taken off the table, we'll see what they want to do for a first pick. Had Jace lived, would have definitely been snatched up there by Summit, but what is going to be their main focus right now? Yuumi was the final ban.
Karma's available, but instead of that, they'll just lock in the Neeko.
Neeko, versatility able to be flexed into multiple positions, and Irelia is banned, so there's no Neeko counter, realistically, that exists. AP Neeko is able to pretty much go up against anything, as long as you play it well enough, as Sir Thomas right now being hovered. Will they end up locking it in? It does look like he will be. Now maybe they just outright accompany this with the Ezreal. But I think that you do want to wait for SANDBOX to show their composition a little bit more before you commit that heavily. So a jungler pick probably also isn't that bad here. It should be either AD or jungle. But it's going to be a Kennen. We got Mew versus Mewtwo.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with these Korean teams, but they all just value Kennen so high. I mean, we've even seen it banned in the first round of bans before, multiple times.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the Kennen, it seems, nowadays.
And Braum now being picked up. We don't get to ever see really abusive champion picks. You know what? A mage support that would be really good against Kennen and Tahm Kench? Zyra. She's disappeared. Zyra would make
Who's that?
Tom's life a living hell, and she would give you the exact kind of disengage that you want against Kennen. But we never get to see Tahm Kench get abused. Instead, we see Korean teams for several splits now just handshake things and have these passive, lackluster laning phases where the jungler involvement tends to become necessary.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll use the same word, a bit uninspired. Whereas other teams around the world,
yeah, this is one of the things. I mean, you're referencing Kennen, and in a way, the LCK is sort of devolved in meta, where they keep going back to old picks. We see it with Gnar, we saw it with Tahm Kench top, we see it with Azir, we see it with Corki. Now, other regions are picking up some of these champions too, but you go through the patch notes, you go through history and stuff of these champs, and most of them tend to either not be getting moved at all, or they've only suffered nerfs or indirect nerfs for the most part. And even sometimes getting slight buffs isn't really enough to propel them to the same level that we see them getting picked at. And so it's definitely very interesting. And Korea, as a region, does tend to be very unmoving in how they like to draft. They're very, very slow when adapting.
Yeah, they have a style and a certain feel for the game, and they haven't really changed all that much. But when that started to happen, Korea started to lose, and they had to adapt. And a lot of the teams here in spring that were adapting and changing up their play style started to do better and better. But we'll see how we go in Korea as we have now come back to the Azir versus Corki every game meta, and Neeko versus Kennen every lane. As getting through some of the bans here, we're banning against Ghost, the Kalista and the Sivir taken away, as well as a mid and jungle, and even a jungle flex with the Talia being taken away.
The Skarner's really surprising because it's already a red side Kennen, which has a lot of trouble looking for flank teleport wards because it's so difficult to get teleport wards into the blue side jungle of the blue team. And so Skarner, if he would be picked up, he would sort of have anti-synergy with some of his other teammates, most notably being the Kennen, because you're providing magic resist, or more of a reason to get magic resist and whatnot. And then Skarner would just have a pretty hard time engaging against the Corki and the Neeko. So now Zoe ends up being picked here. And it's been a while, I guess.
Yeah.
Since Ezreal Zoe have paired up with one another against a also semi kind of poke composition. So now Varus is being locked in, and I'm curious if that'll be the lethality Varus, which wouldn't be that bad here against the Ezreal and the Zoe. And also because of how long range they are and how flexible and versatile the Ezreal Zoe is, lethality would make even more sense rather than just an on-hit. Jarvan being hovered right now. Tahm Kench has Devour, Ezreal Arcane Shift.
I feel like I've seen this draft before.
Yeah.
It looks so similar to the first game.
Rek'Sai.
Palm of Life, and you called it earlier, Rek'Sai finally comes back. We haven't seen her for a while.
I'm glad that you got her gender correct. A lot of people mess that up.
I know it's what.
All right. You've definitely been doing your research. I'm very happy.
Yes. As, by the way, I wanted to mention this, guys. This team on the screen is the SANDBOX Kart Rider team.
Yeah.
Came down here to support the League of Legends team, Kart Rider Esports. Still going strong in Korea. And SANDBOX having a team over there, so the support and the love being shared across all of the games.
Yeah, there's a lot of esports games here, I guess, in Korea that doesn't really have the same kind of mainstream attention in the West, and people don't know about them, but they're still very popular, and they have their own scenes out here. And now we're going to take a quick look at the team compositions, talk about what they're trying to achieve. Neeko, J4, Corki, Varus, and then right at the very end there is the Braum. So we'll see what they end up doing. It can easily just be a poke composition with Neeko going AD if necessary. And then on the flip side, you have Ezreal, Tahm Kench, Zoe, Rek'Sai, and then at the very, very top, as the camera is panning to it, you have Kennen. So you have a team composition that has really very little synergy with itself across the board outside of the Ezreal Zoe, and that's ultimately what it's going to come down to.
See if they can maneuver their way into a second win here against SANDBOX, who have come to play. All right, the plates are on. And the game is on here for game number 2 of this series. as already Sangyoon gonna pick up 110 gold.
Did he really RNG it?
Yeah, look at that.
Wow.
110.
Wow, he is so good. He is just so good.
And he bought 2 more potions.
Okay, well, I take it back.
What did you want him to buy? A control ward?
Nope. Just want him to sit on 110.
Oh, okay.
Or, no, I guess that would be bad. Never mind.
Okay.
He should have actually probably made an effort to try to get more Kleptomancy procs before recalling. And then if he could have done that, he could have just gone into lane with the Fairy Charm. That probably would have been a better...
The ideal play?
Yeah, that would have been the optimal play right there instead of just the 3 red potion. Because Ezreal isn't really necessarily always gated by his HP, and there's very little trade change that is granted by the double red potion. It's mostly he's affected by his mana as well as his gold because he has 2 different recall timings. Well, 3, but usually 2 that revolve around Sheen and Tier. Well, Tempt now getting the better end of some of the trades here. And remember, the team composition, so the Rek'Sai and the Kennen are relatively no theme. The longer that this game ends up... We're actually going to get a...
Sangyoon Klepto reaction.
Reaction to the Kleptomancy. Here we go. Ready? Here we go.
All right, let's listen. Okay, yeah.
됐다 이거.
있고 저기.
야, 돈 떴다, 돈 떴다.
나이스.
야, 제발.
네. 100원.
야, 110원. 야, 야, 대문판이다. 뭐 사지?
It's like, please, please. And then, yes, 110.
포션 3개.
포션 3개.
와, 얘들아,
여기
대문판이다.
And he got it. He's real happy about that one. So.
And that's actually a really nice start there for the Ezreal, obviously, as we already talked about. And the Ezreal and the Zoe, they're going to have to scale. They're in it for the long haul this game. And it's going to come down to Zoe bubbles in the later stages. Corki, though, he has the cleanse. And will Varus end up... Well, I guess we get our answer. He has lethal tempo. And perhaps he doesn't want to go into the lethality because he already has the Braum, and so that would be a little bit of anti-synergy there. But if Varus is going to go for the lethal tempo on hit, then Neeko could have just gone for AP.
Yeah, and mentioning the AP, we are going to have double press the attack, just like the last time we saw Mew versus Mewtwo in the top lane. Of course, that's what we've been calling Neeko versus Kennen, as they play extremely similarly in the game.
Yeah, they're basically dittos when they both take on the AD variation.
Yeah.
And the AP variations themselves are also very, very similar. So we'll have to see how this game ends up transpiring. As interesting, Tempt actually has Scorch on the Zoe, which is, doesn't... You ever go into SANDBOX mode and you take a look at how much damage it's really doing. It's not really all that great because of how...
It's not doing.
Yeah.
All right, trying to get on top of OnFleek here. The flash comes in. Response flash now from OnFleek. The heal going to get him to safety, but what about poor Braum? He's also going to have to flash away as a stun could come in here. It's really close. We're just kiting him down. Hanwha Life not willing to give this up for a very long time, but they get a lot of value out of that. Double flash and heal away from SANDBOX.
Yeah, they got the double flash. They got the heal out of Joker as well, and he doesn't have Spellbook, and now OnFleek and Bono, they're fighting over these Krugs. As a turret plate is getting a lot of damage done to it. I don't think that Sangyoon and Key are going to be able to get it on this crash. But Key doing quite a bit of poke damage. The Varus does have the teleport, though. Not the end of the world there. Oh,
Ooh,
man.
Boy. Oh, that Q was so close. If he landed that one plus the Tahm Kench, I wonder. That was extremely close to his death. And you mentioned the teleport, but the fact that he stayed in extra wave, it's going to take a long time for him to, you know, recall, get full health, buy up, and teleport back. So already a turret plate going the way of Hanwha Life's bottom lane. Oh, nice play as well on that one. Going to dodge the bomb from Dove as Tempt also doing a really nice job. He's got the glacial.
Oh, he missed GLP.
Yeah, GLP a little bit short on that one as Dove can Valkyrie away.
Is that a short joke? Because
No Veigar's in this game.
Low, because she got low stature. Is that why you made that joke
Yeah,
right
that's
there?
exactly
Okay.
the reason. Yeah.
Yeah, no big deal.
Sorry about that.
Wow, that was actually really good usage of Zoe. Went for the R plus auto attack as the turret was blinking. So even though Tempt took turret aggro, no bullet was actually fired by the turret.
Yeah, and notice that Dove had to take cleanse because he's against Zoe. This isn't up against Azir where you go teleport. So he goes back and is just going to have to run to lane. You'll notice he doesn't get full mana, and he actually Valkyries. So he can't return to lane with full mana. He might miss a couple CS here if it's not a cannon wave.
Valdez, I'm going to let you finish and everything, but Summit has one of the best freezes of all time going on right now.
Okay.
Up in top lane. This is it's really good because Kennen feels really, really bad right now. His jungler is not in close proximity. He is losing out on so much XP and gold because of this freeze. That's an F word. Okay. And the amount of pressure that Summit creates by doing so is just massive. Because now, as soon as he establishes lane priority again, he's going to be able to go and kill Kennen's control ward. And it's just going to be a pretty feels bad man investment by the Kennen.
Yeah, just it's annoying to play up against strong top laners, as we have a lot of them here in the LCK nowadays. They are dominating the MVP charts. I'll take another look at that, actually. Rascal and Summit still tied for first with 6 MVPs. And the next best being Nuggery, tied with Dread and Canyon. A couple of junglers there as well.
Do you think there's a bit of
and
favoritism?
tied with Life, actually. I forgot to mention him, so 1 support there in second place. As we're going to have a big fight up here. SoHwan taking a bunch of damage, but he's baiting in Summit, who is going to get that root, has his flash. Ultimate going to come in, and this Neeko should be dead. First blood given over to Bono in the top lane.
And that is massive pressure relief, and it's also one of the worst feelings in the world when you're dominating your lane opponent, lane kingdoming them, and then the jungler, the other player, just comes along and ruins your day. This feels terrible. Feels absolutely awful.
Yeah. He had to call his friends. It's not fair.
Exactly.
2-on-1.
It's not a, yeah.
What?
It's not allowed. OnFleek, he's going to try to sneak this Mountain Dragon, which would be a really, really nice pickup for them if they could end up getting it. And if they could roll a second Mountain as well, that opens up a lot of Baron play potential, and it helps out the Neeko in split push attempts. As you can see all these pings going on. And it looks like Bono is trying to signify that he wanted to do a red clear into a top gank. And I think that Summit is going to go check, make sure that he's not getting ganked from his blue. And you can see Bono doesn't seem to know what he wants to do right now. This is definitely an awkward spot in the game.
Yeah, so Jarvan immediately heads up towards the top lane, actually. You can tell that SANDBOX are feeling the pressure from Bono as Tempt wants to put it on again, trying to land that one. He hits the bubble! And he should be able to, oh, it's a little bit too far away. Decides that he can't quite land it, but Tempt has been putting on a course in how to play Zoe tonight in the mid lane.
Yeah. And the reason that he doesn't go for the flash right there is because Dove has cleanse. He can just cleanse at that point, run away. And then it would ultimately be a trade up for Dove. But nonetheless, the way that everything is happening so far, Hanwha Life's feeling really good. They're up almost 1.5k gold. They are down a Mountain Drake, but they don't have to worry. A Clown Drake's coming up next. And that's not going to be the biggest priority for either team.
Yeah, this game is looking a lot different compared to game number 1, where, you know, SANDBOX had to try to get ahead very early on, where they had Hanwha Life with the scaling comp. This time around, you know, a lot of similar champions picked by SANDBOX that Hanwha Life had in game number 1, but Hanwha Life actually have a lead here, but it is going to be cut down by OnFleek's creative timing to come on in here and take away the Rift Herald very early on, looking for a charge potentially up in the top side with Summit.
They're definitely looking for a cheesy kind of gank here. SoHwan's actually in the XP lead right now, which is surprising.
Take a look at that.
Yeah, SoHwan, he's coming over. He senses that something might be amiss, and now here's the really valuable information. Bono comes in here, sees, oh, the Raptor camps up. Okay. He comes down, sees the Golem camps are up. Oh, okay, Jarvan must be either topside or coming bot right now. And that gives SoHwan the necessary information to play and move the way that he's moving up in top lane.
Ooh. Yeah, the guy had a really good read with the help of his team, so well done there to SoHwan to read the pressure and handle it accordingly.
Oh, man. Tempt is...
Look at this. Got a Zoe. Guy's a monster as Tempt doesn't cleanse. I like the steely, just looking down the barrel of the Zoe and saying, nah, he can't kill me. He can't kill me.
Yeah, I mean, he sort of did kill him because now the CS discrepancy, I mean, 14 CS is almost a kill. So at this point, we're bordering on 2 kills just through CS alone in mid lane. And that's not even factoring in the XP differential. Wow, red resets. That feels really bad. And now, last game, we didn't get many turret plates, Valdez, but this game, turret plates they're dropping.
Dropping like flies in the mid lane and the bottom lane. That's already 2 given to both Hanwha Life lanes. The side of SANDBOX, they have 0 so far.
Yeah.
And it's mainly been the... you know, just the pressure that Tempt has been able to put on solo in the mid lane. The junglers have been focusing topside and Dragon mostly, and other objectives. We haven't seen a lot of love to the mid lane, so Tempt just says, okay, I guess I can try to lane kingdom this guy and just beat him one-on-one, and he's doing exactly that. We don't see a lot of Zoe nowadays in the mid lane, but he specifically took this as a response to the Corki that we've been seeing so often, and Tempt, a great Zoe player in his own right, is showing us how it's done here as OnFleek sneaking in, but it seems like Hanwha Life were able to snip that out.
Yeah, he's definitely being sniffed out, and everyone is just really taking it to SANDBOX in the laning phase, which is normally not something that you get to say, as the items are just continuing to come in right now for some of the members. Blade of the Ruin King now on Ghost. Corki still a little bit ways away from the Trinity Force, but Dove just keeps getting woman-handled here in the mid lane by this Zoe. She's like 1,000 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Now.
No, all right, I agree.
I was just checking up on your understanding.
Ooh, okay.
Oh!
Oh, nice stopwatch, though. But can he get out of this is the question. Okay, Cataclysm in a flash is about as good as it gets. Very well handled, but OnFleek did have to use everything in his kit.
Yeah, Bono did end up using his flash as well, but at the end of the day, it's still a massive victory for Hanwha Life, who are really running away with this game. They're going to get the Clown Dragon here. Let's see what is rolled next. It's going to be another mountain. And so now that is a really big thing for SANDBOX to try to get, though, because it lines up perfectly with Baron.
If they can secure it. We'll have to wait and see if they can get enough pressure down. You see Shelly put into the bottom lane, even.
Yeah, did almost nothing.
He doesn't even attempt mid lane because he's like, this mid lane is done. Like, I can't do anything. Tempt is just, this is unbelievable. I mean, this guy is just making Dove into his little play toy tonight.
Nice save. Sorry, I know what word you were thinking of.
We gotta keep it PG-13. I don't want to. There's a bunch of.
He's not even using the Corgi skin.
there are a bunch of young men and women out there who, you know.
He's not.
He's not. And maybe that's the
not
problem.
Corki. Lost sight. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah.
Like how he
Didn't
said
bring
it
your
so
contacts
confidently.
today.
Said it so confident. Yeah, it's not. It's not the Corki skin as it's.
You didn't bring your poker chips for the echolocation to like to understand which champions in the mid lane. I understand.
Give me a second here. Hold on. We're gonna pan to Corki in just a bit.
As
No, he's using that imposter skin.
yeah, this is.
That's just atrocious. You bring an Earth in front of Tahm? Tahm is so displeased.
Tahm is not having any of
Yeah,
that.
he doesn't accept that sacrifice.
Very
man.
disgruntled waddle away.
Yeah, he's going into the
unhappy.
river. He's had enough. To take his business to another
Taking
store.
a swim. See you later. Yeah, but seriously, I mean, Tempt is just playing like a god tonight. I don't know
Yeah, he is.
what got into this guy. As now, you mentioned kind of this weird no theme outside of Zoe and the Ezreal, but maybe all they need is Zoe and Ezreal. If Tempt is playing this way and Sangyoon's doing what he's doing, gank up in the top side will get that flash away from SoHwan, so it is successful. But they're having a big problem here in the mid lane.
Yeah, they're having a massive problem here in this middle lane. They're going to give up, I think, the Wolf Camp as well if he just wants to eat it. But mid-tier 1 turret has already gone down. That's not what you want to have happening this early on. Now top tier 2. Summit's probably feeling really bad. Summit's having a little bit of the Spring Split Keen syndrome go on for him right now.
Spring Split Blues.
The spring. Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah. To SANDBOX blue team.
Yeah, that's.
I like that.
Yeah,
What if they renamed to Sand Blues?
I don't think we would accept that over here at League of Legends Champions Korea. I think that would actually be banned. We're not allowed to use that name.
Okay.
Yeah, no Sand Blues. And this game is being handled right now by Hanwha. It's 3,000 gold at 18 minutes. Heavily ahead in the mid lane specifically. The bottom lane and the top side are slightly dominated by SANDBOX. But everything else going well here for Hanwha, who are actually having trouble dealing with SANDBOX's push in the bottom side. So nice little win there for Summit and OnFleek to party up and jump into the bot lane and take out that turret.
And so now, what this game's ultimately going to come down to is what's going to happen in the explosive team fight that's going to occur around 19 minutes and 50 seconds.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, it's pretty soon. 1950. There's going to be a team fight, Valdez, and whoever comes out victorious from that will win the game. Now turn the page.
Yes, okay.
All right. Now,
I'm on the right page now.
All right, continue now.
What was that? That looked like it was only Tahm. But I imagine that was the Ezreal in tandem. It just kind of looked a little bit funky there. As Hanwha going to answer with their own turret down on the bottom side, which means they will pick up a bunch of vision around this Mountain Drake. You can see just how important this Drake is for both teams. We're already preparing for it, but Hanwha have a big grip over all the vision as SANDBOX are trying their best to move on in through mid.
All right. 10 seconds now. Just wait for it. This is the posturing. You ready?
Yeah.
Remember, 1950.
A little dance.
Here we go.
Okay.
All right.
And Hanwha, they're late to this one. Where's the Ezreal? Where is everybody? Trying to steal it here, but it's going to go the way of SANDBOX as immediately Mr. Sir Thomas, sorry. This is going to go down in this as everybody on the side of Hanwha just, they had a good idea that this was coming, but then they just concede the river and let it happen.
Yeah, and it was really surprising too. So they're also losing out on top tier 1. There's definitely a pretty big mismatch in the synergy with the recall timers as well as the map rotation. If we take a look at this again, Rek'Sai not having the best of times. got locked up there by the chains of corruption, and then Tahm, I don't know where he went, but it wasn't that great.
Yeah.
He did not feel that good.
He wasn't happy with that one.
No, he
for
wasn't.
Sure. And it was just the burst damage. He was knocked up by Joker. Joker actually made that kill happen.
Yeah.
Denied any gray health from having any potential here. As Hurricane, second item for Ghost. He's going to be looking to actually get in there with his lethal tempo as one-on-one down to the bottom side. Mew versus Mewtwo. And it looks like SoHwan is going to come ahead on that one. Good old Mewtwo doing his work in the 1v1.
Kennen came first.
Yeah.
So it's Mew.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Can't-
the
we
Pokemon lore.
Can't slip up like that. fellas. Come on.
All right, yeah, sorry.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, so Mew wins out yet again. That's the second time tonight. All right, Kennen won earlier on, so that's the trifecta. Mew won in the movies too. So.
Okay. Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler. Yeah, spoiler.
Thanks.
Year
Thanks,
2000.
Celeste.
Come on. Next, you're gonna tell me about the Backstreet Boys.
Look at that burst, though. We said this before. It really is up to Sangyoon and Tempt. Kind of carry this one, but now it's turning into a bit of a SoHwan carry at the same time. He steals Krugs, comes down here. There's nobody to stop him in the side lane. He's able to get half the turret damage down in that bottom side and can back away. He's probably got some fat stacks of gold now that he can use to buy that Zeal item.
Let's take a look at how this all transpires. So here you can see that Summit, he just thought that he was going to come and be able to farm this lane out. And unfortunately, it was just brought down really, really quick. And the thing is that a lot of people tend to have forgotten how annoying Zoe Ezreal is. You are dodging bullets for days. They seem to have unlimited mana pools. All of their abilities, coincidentally, seem to do about 70% of your HP.
Coincidentally.
And they have about a half a second cooldown, okay?
Yeah.
So, it's quite nice when you're playing the champions. It's not that nice when you are on the receiving end of it.
Who thought of these champions?
I don't know, but he was certainly
some bright
a good-
minds.
yeah.
Yeah. Big fan.
I actually love Zoe as a champion.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was hoping that she would actually get buffed so she would come back sooner.
Ooh, trying to get the angle here. That's a little bit far away. Nice devour, but is there enough time to get everybody out of here? The chains of corruption, and that Ezreal is dead meat. Down you do go, and Hanwha life again, getting themselves into trouble as the TPs will come in. And now it's SANDBOX 5-on-3. Will they consider Baron here with double mountain? We'll have to wait and see. It looks like they're actually moving to the mid lane instead.
Yeah, SANDBOX, they just bit off, well, they just took a big bite out of Hanwha life as Hanwha life bit off a little bit more than they could chew. Being definitely a little too greedy there with the Zoe poke. You don't have to try to rush things down. All that you have to do is constantly try to weave in a Zoe bubble. And if you hit it, it just so happens that the opponent dies. So it's really weird how that happens.
Well, Joker is kind of out of position here. I say kind of. And he's in a lot of trouble. Oh, it's coming way over the wall. Slam dunk from miles away as Bono just makes it look really easy. Presses the R button and flies over the rift.
And now they're going to start the Baron OnFleek here with, okay, maybe Summit's not here. Tempt, he flashes away. It's a fake flash, though. This
flash.
Zoe is so scary.
And they just chip away and poke at the same time.
Yeah,
and
this is a really cool comp.
Discourage OnFleek from making it into the pit as the trouble bubbles come in.
What are you doing?
Didn't use the ability. Wasn't able to get that gray health working for him. And it was a nice idea, but unfortunately they don't have any Mountain Drake, so it took a lot longer than they expected.
Now a teleport coming in from Ghost. Are they just going to start the Baron?
All right, we're waiting for this one.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, someone start the music. That's what I was about to say.
What's going on?
All right, Babano. And look
That'll
at that
put an
poke
end.
damage.
Wait a second.
But SoHwan a little bit too frisky. Gonna get in there, but the Ignite ticking on OnFleek. He's too low. And actually, SANDBOX are not gonna take that risk. With their jungler too low to stick around. Everybody takes a swipe at Baron, but nobody comes away with it.
All right. So Hanwha Life, they're going to back off. They're going to posture again. Try to fix their lane states right now. Open Dragon's up. I don't know who was just pinging that. And this is actually where Hanwha Life just got a little too greedy. There was no reason for Zoe to get the snipe onto the J4 because J4 was already essentially removed anyway, given his current HP value. So being really greedy there for the kill doesn't really change any sort of a Baron attempt, even if you were to go down. Ends up costing Sir Thomas's life, as well as just a big tempo swing. SoHwan comes in here with Bono, ends up killing Joker, and I really like what Bono did. He waited for SoHwan to go in deeper. The flash wasn't necessary, and so not having that available maybe impacted the Baron dance that occurred later. Oblivion Orb picked up for Zoe. There's not that much magic resist currently present on the enemy team, so I really like the Oblivion Orb, and I'm hoping that he just gets Death Cap next, because there's so many squishy targets, and all that's really important is the bubble.
He's already got a blasting wand.
He has an usually large, too.
That is true.
Which one's it going to be? You saying that he likes the yellow one better than the pink one, or?
I'm just saying you gotta accept this sad reality that he's gonna build a Merlin Alcon. I'm so sorry to break it to you. Yeah, well.
Keep going. I'm gonna need some time.
At least he now does have another slot as he used his control ward. So he could build another needlessly large and go into the death cap, but, you know, I'm not too confident on that one as Thomas. Where are you going, buddy? He's tanking for a long time, but unfortunately not enough poke able to come out from his team to really help him out there. And now we got both Varus and Corki getting really strong in some of these team fights. You got to be careful with how much you're going to give SANDBOX on their way to the late game.
Yeah. And you can see that SANDBOX, I mean, even with having 2 Mountain Drakes and an Ocean Dragon, they're still having to posture for an eternity because Ezreal Zoe, I mean, this is like watching the Dodgeball movie.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. They are, oh, that is very, very, very fast.
Double Mountain. But the poking is still coming in.
Are they going to flip?
Oh, they're going for it. And it goes to Rek'Sai! Bono strikes again, takes it away. And that'll be another kill to Sangyoon as well on the backside. And a snipe really close on a Joker, but Hanwha Life take it away right under the noses of SANDBOX.
Oh, no, if you're a SANDBOX fan. Oh, that felt awful. OnFleek goes in, but this is one of the things I mean about Zoe Ezreal. They are probably tilted out of their mind, and so they consent to the 50-50. They just say, you know what? I've had enough.
Yeah.
I need vision, I need vision. I got it. And then back off. Nice. So, the Ezreal Zoe can get under, and you know, I know this even from being inside of like Korean team houses or playing in scrims and stuff. People get very frustrated against this team comp.
Yeah. Because
it is so obnoxious. The cooldowns are so short, and they deal so much damage. And so SANDBOX, they seemingly basically said, either we're gonna get the Baron and run right through you because we've had enough of your garbage, or we're just gonna lose it and we can get out of here. So.
And now that Baron is given to Hanwha Life because of what you were mentioning. Now this comp is even more obnoxious. I mean, we've all seen this before. Welcome back to this meta, ladies and gentlemen, as it's really rough to deal with. We've seen a lot of poke comps nowadays, but Hanwha Life bringing back a golden oldie in the Zoe Ezreal. And we can just see once again why this comp was played quite often.
Oh, it dominated the meta.
It was 2018.
And spring 2019.
Yeah.
The Zoe Ezreal.
It's just, it's got a lot going for it. As, okay, trying to go here as the Devourer is on point, but he's got a lot of gray health. Can they turn it around? A big slicing Maelstrom, but it's an AD Kennen. It's not really enough, and they're not able to disengage with their disengage poke comp as Bono's just going through all the tunnels. Actually makes his way out of there as the Baron push is going to be delayed here for just a moment as they lose their Kennen.
And their top lane state is not ideal. As you can see, the Rek'Sai like, barreling up there. Never mind, stopping a recall. 80 Kennen, yeah, the ultimate. Leaves much to be desired. As this is actually a pretty big blunder to botch this Baron siege. It should have definitely been able to convert into at least an inhibitor, but Sangyoon, he got hit there by OnFleek's EQ, so good capitalization by him on that moment. SoHwan comes in, slicing Maelstrom Joker, goes golden with the stopwatch, and then SANDBOX, they're able to repel it in the end because they didn't let Ezreal and Zoe do what Ezreal and Zoe wants to do. Are they going to get a third mountain?
Oh, no, they will not. Down it goes, the steal. And I don't know how they let it get to that point as well. Just, oh boy. Looks like, I believe the Jarvan was in there, right? And he had smite, so, oh, well, it goes down to about 300, and Sangyoon says thank you very much for that leash. You are very generous and kind. We will take this mountain.
Man.
That just makes Zoe Ezreal comps even that much stronger.
That was a PogChamp moment if
Yeah.
you're a Hanwha Life fan, I'll tell you what.
That's a tilter.
Oh, jeez. Oh, and if if you're not a Hanwha Life or a SANDBOX fan, that was a lull moment.
Yeah.
You know, in chat.
Yeah.
That if you're just another team's fan and you're watching these two right now, you probably just wrote
You're
lull.
enjoying yourself.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, SANDBOX is still in the game. It's not like they're completely out of it yet. But after the Baron, as well as that Mountain, they're going to need to fight for Elder before this game is likely to conclude. Minute and a half, though, until the next Baron ends up coming up.
And I feel like just with these
Is that
two
a
comps.
Morella?
Yeah, what I told you. Absolutely.
But you were lying to me.
No. It's a big deal here in Korea. Everybody loves that Merlinomicon. It's their favorite book. As I'm gonna take a little tour.
My. Oh, do you know what do you know what
198.
do you know what the name of that ult is?
What is it?
나이스!
The
어디까지 가자!
molding shot.
Oh boy, we got a fight going on here though. As once again, Hanwha Life in an awkward spot. The Ezreal not even there. Bono trying to get away. OnFleek is going to survive as Tempt not able to land that skill shot, as this is definitely a Hanwha Life game. You know, they have been in this situation before where for some reason they just get caught over and over, even from ahead. They really got to cut this out if they want to win this game.
Yeah, they're definitely being very sloppy with a lot of the edges and advantages they find themselves in. As Baron, it's up in 30 seconds, so it's not going to be the end of the world. Let's take a look at how this all ended up transpiring. Bono, he goes in, misactivates some of his abilities right here, actually gets his ultimate canceled, loses the Guardian Angel, and there's just no way for the other members of Hanwha Life to back him up. And this is sort of actually the anti-synergy that I talked about in regards to the Rek'Sai and the Kennen. What are they really doing for the Ezreal Zoe? Not really all that much.
Forcing fights alone is the way that it looks. As speaking of fights, look at the Baron. They're going to be way too late on this one. We'll see if they can poke him down from here. Already a nice amount of damage onto Joker, but the fake Neeko actually slows them down a lot. And the package is there. Here's SoHwan. And for now, it's only the Braum that goes down. SoHwan desperately trying to get on in there, but the Wolves helping out with the body block, as the Baron will go the way of SANDBOX here at 34 minutes.
Double Mountain and just the team comp that they have, it's so good at shredding through it. Now, SANDBOX with the Baron, what Hanwha Life are going to want to do is they want to attack Baron indirectly by just constantly removing the minions from the map so that SANDBOX doesn't have the ability to actually walk all the way up to Hanwha Life space. Now, because all the outer tier 2 turrets are still alive and reasonably healthy, and the way that the current side lanes look, especially with SoHwan getting first priority to the bottom one, this game is going to Elder. So the game is not over yet, but SANDBOX are definitely in a fighting position to come back. Their champions are getting strong enough to sort of just demand that Ezreal and Zoe be grounded almost into a fighting position. And that's a pretty simple Baron capture. Zoe does a lot of damage. True Shot Barrage ends up coming in there too. Heal is cast by Braum.
Yeah.
And remember, that's not a spellbook Braum. So that is his main summoner. And this was really, really close. Almost able to force Dove to use another summoner.
Ooh. Ezreal's doing some damage. We got poke going on here. Tempt might just be able to one-shot him, and he gets him! Saw it coming there from downtown, as that is 10 seconds before the Elder Dragon. Could the timing be any worse?
Oh, man, that feels... Oh, Zoe Ezreal with Elder.
Yeah, and they should be able to get it. We'll have to wait, though.
SANDBOX, I think they want a coin flip.
Yeah, and it's 4 on 5.
Oh,
if they commit
Zoe?
to this, okay, he's going to get in there, but he's slept in the pit. He's got the stone plate, but now he had to flash away as he comes back in, but it's still Rek'Sai's. Nicely done by Bono under the pressure, as OnFleek just did not want to go away. And now that's 2 kills in the Elder, handed over here to Hanwha Life.
And now with the Elder Dragon, they're going to be able to laugh in the face of Baron with the amount of damage that they can dish out. Now, the one thing, though, is that SANDBOX's Baron does last for another 40 seconds. Oh, redemption. Don't mind if I do. All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite nice when you RNG stuff like that. And going to heal up all those minions.
Yeah, and the poke is on right now, and it's 4 on 5. As well, so somebody's got to come down here and deal with SoHwan while the push comes in the mid lane. Everybody's being just cannon barraged from everywhere.
Yeah.
We don't even have a GP in this game, but it's happening. You guys can see it. Even the Rek'Sai with the Elder just can, you know, send in the Praiseaker and just land it and get that Elder burn going, and it's still annoying. As, okay, finally OnFleek comes back here.
SANDBOX's comp right now is sort of like an Eminem song where they have one shot, one opportunity, and they can't let it slip as they need to just find a way on to Zoe and Ezreal. And if they fail, the game does end. They are so much more reliant on that one-shot kill. And I just don't think that they're going to be able to get it.
Yeah. Well, just seeing the missile there from Dove, you can tell that he's also got some items alongside a Ghost. So keep in mind that the side of SANDBOX also have a bit of poke in their comp, but again, they don't have the Elder Drake, so it's not nearly as strong right now. But you mentioned one shot, one opportunity. You got to go for it sometime here as Joker trying to put on the guard here, and he will do it for now as the package being picked up by Dove. Takes a nice chunk of damage. But they are holding on to this turret that's got about 75 health left.
20 seconds remaining on the Elder Dragon. If they can weather the storm here, which it does look like they did. And, you know, speaking of which, actually, the rain has let up here in Seoul.
Yeah, it's nice.
Just wanted to let you know that. But getting back to the game.
A brief intermission.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, low standards.
To bring you the weather.
Yeah.
You know? All right.
LS, a.k.a. Like Sunrise.
Yeah. Here we go.
Now,
you know, I like this, too. That looked like a sunrose. See? Look at how excited Neeko was. She had no idea what was going on. OnFleek here. He got sleepy bubble, or trouble, is it bubble trouble? Trouble bubble.
Yeah. And he gets back in.
Yeah, he gets back in.
It's really close.
Yeah.
6:34. But Bono, just nerves of steel, some of these junglers. Not phased for a moment. As another Ezreal, Sangyoon got it in game 1. He's going to get it in game number 2.
Yeah, lots of Ezreals are picking this up. What were you talking about?
I can't believe he just... Let's just forget that, yeah. Nobody saw the Magias in his inventory that he just sold.
Are you misguiding me? Or? I was just trying to be a good friend here and carry along what you were putting down. But I think that you were lying.
Yeah, the Magias is a lie. Just pretending like it doesn't exist. As, okay. SANDBOX this time around, it's hard to pull the same trick twice. Absolutely, Hanwha Life have their number. They're like, okay, you're not just going to rush it down this time. But man, this is a close game still. As SANDBOX pushing into the mid lane, looking for that engage. Will not land as Dove, I mentioned it, he's also got a bit of poke in his comp.
And SoHwan, I mean, he's just waiting for Neeko to try to step forward, potentially. I don't know who wins, actually, at this point in time. I'm assuming Kennen, because he has that cheater ability that stuns. And it's not AP Neeko.
There's that, and I feel like it's whoever gets the jump on it as well. But
yeah,
when it's just one-on-one like this in the lane, hard to make that happen. As Dove trying to get the crits down, just moving forward like a freight train. Knows he has his team behind him. It takes communication to make that happen.
Yeah.
Even though it looks very straightforward to get your whole team behind you as you move forward as the Corki.
Well, Dove gonna come over now, clear out the top lane. Elder spawning in a minute, and then Baron is alive. This is definitely a pickle for both of the teams. And you're gonna have to decide which one do you value more. And honestly, Hanwha Life, because they're the Zoe Ezreal comp, they need both. Whereas SANDBOX, they can do with one or the other. The Baron lets them resist all of Hanwha Life's push attempts, and it's also really good at pushing into Hanwha Life.
Oh, they're just going for it. Someone woke them up. They wanted to get the kill after the wake up. They're not going to get it here as Dove is going to have to disengage, but so much damage on Tempt. He's going to live just barely. But a good fight going the way of SANDBOX. Now they're chasing down Sangyoon. Is going to have that one arcane shift away, but SANDBOX getting the one pick are now not stopping on the push.
And they invested quite a bit to get this. They're going to definitely get the mid inhibitor.
Oh, the fight in the bottom side as... Oh boy, Summit's going to win that one. SoHwan was just going forward. And now taking down the top laner, they will move their attention to that Elder Drake.
They're going to the Elder Dragon, and with the double mountain, I mean, that's going to be a pretty free pickup. I don't think that there's any conceivable way for a Hanwha Life to...
Okay, they're regrouping in mid.
Maybe Neeko just solos it? Well, Neeko has lifesteal. Neeko can solo it.
Yeah, we've seen it before.
Yeah, Neeko's going to solo it. They're going to stay in mid. Hanwha Life is going to feel real bad in just a second.
Yeah. Just a bit of pressure in the mid lane, push it down, so Hanwha have to respond as, not this time, Sangyoon. I think they know that trick. As Elder goes the way of SANDBOX, now they can move over to the Baron and get one big push to try to close out this game.
Yeah. Let's see if they can end up getting it. Now, that's only the first Elder for them, so it is not going to last as long. As they have to go over to the Baron, they have to capture that first. And this is the scary thing, though. The Zoe bubbles are still very frightening. And Tempt is going to have to do some stuff if he's going to want to save this game. The Zoe and Ezreal.
Yeah. It's really hard to deal with this from SANDBOX. You can see that Hanwha...
Well, the bottom wave is actually hurting, I believe, for Hanwha Life. So a herd can take down that turret in the bottom. Okay. That's not long.
What do you got? Nope. That's going to be way too fast. With the Elder, the two Mountain Drakes, it will go the way of SANDBOX here. Hanwha Life's strategy seemed to be, don't get near them. They have Elder. We can only poke. And SANDBOX were able to use that mindset to just move on in and take down the Baron fast.
Yeah. We'll take another quick look at this replay. This is how it all started. EQ into Cataclysm, locking up Tempt. He flashed away. And then right here, Key ends up going down, and, you know, Key truly has been the key to victory for SANDBOX this game. As this trade ended up starting, SoHwan was missing 60% of his HP just at the very beginning of it, and Summit able to snare him as Neeko.
And Summit got the first couple of autos, crit on one of them, and it's like, if you're going to fight from there, we mentioned it before, it's like whoever gets the first auto is most likely going to win. SoHwan almost came back. Yeah, well, basically.
What?
As, you know, SoHwan almost came back, but it wasn't nearly enough, as this is this mega push I was talking about before. 20 seconds on the Elder. They still have Baron for 2 minutes, and you really just can't stop this here. They have a decent amount of wave clear, but it's not going to be nearly enough as we're just freight training it down the bottom lane.
Elder's about to expire, though. Yeah, Elder has expired. That's a lot of lost firepower, but Baron and all these minions. Now, the minions aren't something to laugh at.
The Varus got slept in the back line, but they're not able to break the phalanx here. As just pushing on through with SANDBOX. Hanwha have to fight this if they don't want to lose here. SoHwan on the top side, not going to be able to do it. Key sustaining a ton of damage. Bono's not able to do it, and that's going to be the end. SANDBOX here in 46 minutes, able to come back in that game, capitalize on a bunch of mistakes, and make the game theirs. We are going to a game number 3.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at this game, and it should have been Hanwha's. Realistically, they had so much going for them. They were winning laning phase. Tempt was putting on a show on the Zoe, and they stole away the Baron. They got the first Elder, but then they botched so many things that it just becomes so difficult to understand how it started really falling apart. But honestly, SANDBOX, they held it together. And you can also see what happens when Baron is obtained for the enemy team against Zoe Ezreal. It becomes really easy to barrel down and just break right into their base, and there's very little that Zoe Ezreal can do about it.
Hanwha, they had so many minutes of that game, as you're mentioning, where they should have just been able to poke them down, take objectives, and win. But they just were a bit off on the execution. And up against a good team like SANDBOX, you can't afford to be a bit off. You got to be on, like game number 1. You got to be dominating and continuing with the lead that you already have. But I suppose that's been part of Hanwha Life's main problem, has been the execution. I feel like at times their drafts are quite good, like we saw in game number 1. Even game number 2 wasn't bad. But just sometimes they're not able to execute the plan. And we saw that here. Even though they did a ton of damage, it wasn't quite enough to take the win.
Well, Valdez, like I was trying to tell you, the fight at 1950, it was going to decide the game. And if you do recall, SANDBOX, they won that fight, so next time you're going to get better at reading, buddy.
Yeah, I was a little bit behind on the script. Sorry about that. And it's kind of true, right? Okay, apparently NA is better than EU. How about them esports? I agree. How about them esports? From Columbus, Ohio.
I don't know if
Is that a Pengu on the left?
You know, I don't know what that is.
I think that's the mole diver right there.
Ooh. Do you like it? Do
Yeah.
you like the mole diver? Oh, that's right.
Fan,
You're a big fan of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Props to our global fans that came all the way down to the LOL Park here in Korea to watch the games live. Hope they're enjoying it. That game, too, was actually a lot of fun. Wasn't super one-sided. Was very back and forth. And Hanwha Life were able to bring us back into a game number 3. SANDBOX able to capitalize on that one. So, guys, we'll have one final break when we come back. Game number 3.
이거.
오케이.
계속 봐봐. 계속 보는.
한번 조금씩 박아봐. 조금씩 박아봐. 갈 준비해봐.
야 이거 터치자.
오케이. 아 들었고. 타워치 되겠는데.
터치자.
타워치 너무 빨라.
난 캔치 가는 거
현재
같아.
봐봐. 현재 봐봐.
옆에.
현재 봐봐. 앞에 없어. 앉아. 끝났어.
아.
그럼 지금부터 사운드 테스트 진행하십니다.
사운드 테스트.
그다음에 적들의 움직임이 수상해.
플레이
얘좀 봐줘.
네.
테디 지금 바텀 보고 있는 거야? 플레이드 갱주.
보스터 여기 좀 봐줘.
똥플릭 상황 보고 있는 거야?
적들의 움직임이 수상해.
더블리 갱은 언제 오는 거야?
안 감. 이거 봐.
잘 들리시고 있네. 네.
나올 준비.
왜 보고 있는 거야?
아 그거 괜찮아. 큐베 죽으면 그거 해. 큐베 상황 보고 있는 거야? 진짜. 이거 알았지. 할 수 있다 생각하고 하라고.
정신 차려야겠습니다.
괜찮아.
뭐 노래 불러줘요?
시작 전에 불러줘. When you try your best. 나 이거 노래 안 들었는데 알 것 같아.
When you try your best but you don't succeed.
멘탈에 영향이.
알았어요, 안 할게.
좋아. 계속 한 소절만 더 해봐.
When you give what you know, not what you need.
약간 스페인어 같은데.
오케이.
대현이 형 긴장되면 말을 제가 계속 불러드릴게요. 갑자기 전에도 불러줄게요. 껌 있는 분. 생각해보니까 껌을 안 씹었네?
요즘 메타 껌 안 씹는 메타야.
아 그래?
껌 안 먹냐 요즘? 껌 씹으면 저. 요즘 껌 안 씹냐? 네. 헐. 껌 씹을 시간에 말해야 된다. 헐.
나
이래
나 괜찮아.
이긴 거 같거든?
이거 같아 이거 같아
프레이.
나왔어 여기도 이거 조이 높여 오케이 이겼다 조이 높여 아 다행이다
오케이 이겼다. 오케이. 피티 왜 이렇게 잘해?
서울의 밤 멈추러 간 도시 걸먹걸먹 걸으며
날들이 내 잃어버린 날들이.
집중합시다 이길 수 있어요
빨리 못 오거든? 이거 레드 줄게.
야 아지르 봐줘 아지르.
아 우연히 봐줘. 아들. 아 자동차 있거든?
깼어. 많이 끝났어.
나이스.
그냥 기인 형 파밍하다가 그냥
아 어떻게 카멜이 세즈보다 딜량이 낫냐?
아 네가 해보라고 야.
니가 그럴 거면 가렌해라 가렌.
근데 가렌할까 이거?
가렌해라 진짜로.
가렌할까?
나 같으면 딜량 5천 넣을 거면 가렌한다.
딜량 5천이었냐?
5,000원이야. 내가 딜량 2등이야 우리 팀.
뽀삐 저번에 뽀삐 잘하는 와.
뽀삐 아닌 것 같아.
뽀삐 나한테 배울래?
큐니 뽀삐를 못하냐?
인형 사이온해 사이온. 네이트 상대로 사이온 얼마나
아니 가렌하니까.
아니 사이온을 왜 하냐고. 할 거면 오른을 하지.